All right, if you saw my previous video, we put the Osmo Pocket 3 onto this portable dolly right here, this portable electric dolly. I also put this selfie stick to get it to rise higher and mount this Osmo Pocket 3 to the top of it so that it could track shots and move with me. So you're getting kind of this parallax effect. So from the Osmo Pocket 3, it can pan and capture you, but also with the dolly, this would slide and move with it. So as you may know, I have done that previously, but it didn't quite work for me because this being so long became wobbly at the top because you have that weight at the top, and as it's moving, it just kind of wobbles around. So it was okay. I mean, it's a good solution for the size that it is. And I thought, you know, is it because the dolly isn't as heavy? So then I picked up this one right here, which is the more heavier duty version. Let me remove this so you can see this size comparison. So there's a size comparison here, and there's definitely a weight difference in there as well. So also I thought this would work better because it's a beefier base, which it is. Then I tried it with the selfie stick here, but it still had the same issues as was wobbly. So I was like, okay, do I need something thicker? Do I need something stronger? So I got the even thicker selfie stick from Insta360. I mounted this on here and I went up with this, and it still was a little more wobbly than I wanted. Remember, what I wanted was that sliding movement coupled with that tracking movement as well. But that didn't quite work for me. And so I started to look at this scientifically. What were the problems that I was experiencing? And I realized, you know, it's wobbly because of that length from the base to the top. So what if I could just have it move, but have it higher off the ground? So that's where we are today with this Smarta dolly right here. It's an electric dolly. It goes left to right. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. You can either go left, you can either go right, or you could go back and forth. Now the distance from A to B wasn't the most ideal of what I originally thought, but I realized this is perfect. So what I can do is I can mount a base plate to the bottom. I could place this on a tripod, so that removes the wobble, and I have a couple of options here. I could either put this fluid head on there and then put a base plate on my Osmo Pocket 3 and have it go that way, or I could screw my Osmo Pocket 3 straight onto this double-sided 1/4" 20. And then when I have this mounted onto a tripod, it can go back and forth without wobbling, and that actually helped with the wobble shakes. And keep in mind here, it's not a long distance since you want to capture that movement, but remember, but the duration on this is default 20 seconds each way, and you could change that in the mobile app to be about 60 seconds each way. Now keep in mind, something that I've learned from social media filmmaking is that you gotta change angles pretty often, 5, 10 seconds, which leads us to this, is that 20 seconds of tracking shot isn't terrible because you could use that if you're only using 5 or 10 seconds of that angle. Okay, this setup here is this Smarta Smart Dolly. It's an electric dolly that works with an app. And I have the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 on here. As you may have seen before, I like to get those movement shots with the Pocket 3. We tried other solutions in the past to see if we get some movement on there, but it was a little wobbly having the base on the ground with the extension up top, and the camera on there makes it wobbly. But I figured this time around, if I have it on a tripod and if I have the movement up closer to the camera, maybe it'll be less wobbly. Okay, let me show you what we have here. We have this pretty much electric portable dolly. It goes left to right. And you can have it set to where it goes one way or the other. You can change the ramping speed so it goes slower, faster, and then slower again. Or you can set it on a loop, which bounces back and forth. This device also pairs with their app, and with their app, you can do all of those settings, but also inside of the app, you can change the duration. For example, when I have it on a loop, it's default to about 20 seconds, I believe. And you can change that speed from, instead of taking 20 or 30 seconds to get from here to here and back, what you can do is you can increase that to about 60 seconds, so it'll go slower and longer, so it takes more time as it goes through there. So what I've got here is I put a base plate on the bottom to mount onto my tripod, and then on here I attach this double-sided 1/4" 20, and then I could attach my Osmo Pocket 3 on there. So we'll just screw it on just like this, and then as I attach this onto the tripod, I can tighten it there, and I have it set to about eye level. What you want to do when you're filming with motion is keep in mind, like as you're changing clips, you don't need a 60-second long clip of movement. Usually you kind of go with like 5, 10, 20 seconds even of movement shots, and then you change the angle or so on to keep your videos interesting. I'm using the app right here. I have the speed set to 100%, which is 20 seconds each way. Okay, so I do have the tracking on me right now, but I'm not gonna move too much. What I do have right now is I have the Osmo Pocket 3 on the dolly, going straight forwards and backwards, and take a look around me, behind me, see how that image looks. Look at the lines on the ground. That's how the image is looking as it moves. Now the camera's moving towards me now, but it's also tracking me. So I'm getting double the movement of me walking in this side and also the dolly on there. I just want to know, like, does that look natural? Like someone's actually holding the camera as they're walking at the same time. What I'm trying to emulate here is more of a natural look that somebody is actually filming me rather than a camera standing on a tripod, staying still and just tracking me this way. Get a little parallax in there as well. Then I know somebody's gonna call me out on this. I've tried a couple of other things. Let's place it on the ground and let's put this in front of an object so that you can see tracking motion. Okay, so I'm having this realization here that if this thing is really gonna shoot motion going this way, back and forth, and the camera's that high, it actually doesn't work that way. It's actually gonna need to be a lot closer to the ground. And I'm actually gonna place this on the ground right here. That way it's giving me more of a ground up shot. And let's see, let's go to the app. What's nice is I can control the slider from the app, but also since the camera's right there, a little farther away for me to see the screen, I can use my DJI Mimo app to connect and also change the camera settings while I'm in here as well. So I have that at a constant loop right now. I'm gonna frame my shot. And as I'm filming, let's see, I can actually pull that down lower and I can see how my shot looks going back and forth. Okay, so now what I have now is the slider on the ground. It's able to cover a little more of the ground level so you can see some movement there. Obviously, if you're shooting with a slider, you want to have that movement on the ground so you can see something in the foreground, that movement is happening. But also, so you have that, and also you have a point of interest as well. So if you had like a car or something, that would be a point of interest where you could see movement. I also think that the dolly speed isn't as fast as I want it to be, because what I want to do is I want to use the tracking and I want to use that dolly movement back and forth. Also, if I'm walking around here, I'm looking at the Osmo Pocket 3 and I'm getting that movement plus tracking. I don't know if that's quite as effective, but hey, it was worth a shot. I think I still will use these shots on occasion, honestly, because the camera itself is really cool and it's really nice to like just have that compact setup right there. I want to see if I'm further away, how does the tracking look? Okay, sorry, I'm gonna record my movement at the same time. So let's see, there's the tracking. I don't even think that you can necessarily see the movement as much as you can see the tracking when I'm moving with it. I might as well just like stand in place and let it move by itself rather than having that movement there. I don't think you necessarily need tracking at that point. It's actually bouncing a bit because I'm further away. But you know, it was worth a shot. It fueled my curiosity. And now you know how this works. Okay, so here are my findings here of what I've realized is that this is great and this is great, but in my opinion, what's not great is using it as a slider and tracking at the same time. But what I found is that since this is mostly technically a time-lapse slider, you can actually use your Osmo Pocket 3 as a time-lapse camera and gather time-lapse. And this combination is actually really great at creating time-lapses. So on the bottom left, if I tap on the camera icon, I can actually swipe over to time-lapse. So I can actually use the electric dolly and the Osmo Pocket 3 as a time-lapse setup here. This is one of the great findings that I found in this experiment. And I was like, you know, that's actually pretty cool. And that's a great use case in it. Okay, so I think we got to the conclusion here that dolly movement plus tracking aren't the strengths in this scenario here, but if you want stable shots, which this does because of that great camera sensor and also the gimbal, plus dolly movement, this is a great combination. And so this combination, would I recommend it? Yes, I would, because I think that you can get some great B-roll footage, some great supplementary footage, that's not just static footage. That works for great establishing shots. And remember, motion creates emotion. So I love that. So if you want to learn more about these products, I'll have them in the link below. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you found this video valuable. Thanks for watching, share it with your friends, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.